Ever wondered why your grocery bill seems to climb higher every time you visit the local Loblaws or Sobeys? While many factors contribute to the cost of food, one often overlooked element is the complex and sometimes contentious relationship between Canada and the United States when it comes to agricultural trade. You might think that as friendly neighbors with a massive shared border, our trade relations would be smooth sailing. However, beneath the surface of amicable handshakes and cross-border tourism lies a history of disputes, accusations, and protectionist measures, particularly in the agricultural sector. This tension has been reignited in 2025, with Donald Trump back in the Oval Office following his re-election. Since January, President Trump has revived his hardline stance on trade, singling out Canada once again for what he calls unfair agricultural practices. These new accusations echo those from his first term, 2017 to 2021, but with sharper rhetoric, and renewed threats of tariffs targeting Canadian dairy, poultry, and grain products. The narrative often goes something like this. A Canadian farmer diligently works the land, producing high-quality goods only to find their access to the lucrative U.S. market restricted by tariffs or other trade barriers. On the flip side, American producers sometimes claim that Canadian policies give their farmers an unfair advantage, flooding the market with cheaper products and undercutting their own livelihoods. Trump's latest speeches have reignited this back and forth, calling Canada's supply management system a rigged game that blocks competition and hurts American farmers. While the political rhetoric surrounding trade often focuses on big numbers and economic impact, it's important to remember that these disputes have real-world consequences for farmers, consumers, and the overall economy. The price of milk, the availability of certain fruits and vegetables, and the viability of family farms can all be affected by trade policies and the accusations of unfair practices that accompany them. It's not just about dollars and cents. It's about livelihoods, access to food, and the sustainability of our agricultural systems. This exploration isn't about taking sides or assigning blame. Instead, it's about understanding the nuances of agricultural trade between Canada and the U.S., particularly in light of the recent accusations leveled during Trump's second administration. What are the specific claims being made? What evidence supports or refutes those claims? And what are the underlying factors that contribute to these recurring disputes? By examining the historical context, the specific policies in question, and the broader economic forces at play, we can gain a more informed perspective on this important and often misunderstood aspect of our bilateral relationship. We'll delve into the specific agricultural sectors targeted by these accusations, examining the Canadian policies that drew the ire of the Trump administration. Were these policies genuinely unfair, or were they simply a reflection of different approaches to supporting agriculture? We'll also consider the potential impacts of these disputes on Canadian farmers and consumers, as well as the broader implications for the Canadian economy. This isn't just a dry recitation of trade statistics. It's a look at how political rhetoric and policy decisions can affect the food on our tables and the livelihoods of those who produce it. So, buckle up as we unpack the complexities of Canada-US agricultural trade, exploring the accusations of unfair practices, the underlying economic realities, and the potential consequences for both countries. It's a journey that will take us from the farm fields of the prairies to the negotiating tables of Washington, D.C., and, hopefully, leave us with a deeper understanding of the forces that shape our food system. Remontons un peu le fil de l'histoire, que voulez-vous? Avant même le fameux America First et les tweets enflammés, le Canada et les États-Unis avaient déjà une longue feuille de route en matière de chicanes commerciales agricoles. Pensez simplement à la guerre du saumon du Pacifique, dans les années 90, où les deux pays se disputaient la gestion des stocks de saumon et les pratiques de pêche. C'était un avant-goût de ce qui allait arriver, un exemple classique de comment des ressources naturelles partagées peuvent devenir un point de friction majeur. Maintenant, faut pas croire que c'est juste une question de chicane de voisins. Le contexte est beaucoup plus large. L'accord de libre-échange nord-américain, ALENA, maintenant remplacé par l'ACEUM, USMCA, visait à faciliter le commerce entre les trois pays, Canada, États-Unis et Mexique. Mais même avec un accord en place, les interprétations et les applications des règles ont souvent mené à des différends. Les États-Unis, avec leur économie beaucoup plus grande, ont souvent utilisé leur poids politique pour influencer les négociations et imposer leurs vues. L'agriculture, en particulier, est un secteur où les enjeux sont élevés. Les deux pays ont des systèmes agricoles différents, avec des niveaux de soutien gouvernemental et de réglementation variés. Par exemple, le Canada a son système de gestion de l'offre pour les produits laitiers, les œufs et la volaille, qui vise à stabiliser les prix et à protéger les producteurs canadiens. Ce système est souvent perçu par les États-Unis comme une forme de protectionnisme déguisé, limitant l'accès à leur marché pour les producteurs américains. À l'inverse, le Canada a souvent accusé les États-Unis de subventionner leurs agriculteurs de manière indirecte par le biais de programmes de soutien aux revenus ou de subventions à l'exportation. Ces subventions, selon le Canada, permettent aux producteurs américains de vendre leurs produits à des prix artificiellement bas, ce qui nuit à la compétitivité des agriculteurs canadiens. C'est un peu comme une partie de hockey où une équipe a toujours l'avantage numérique. C'est dur de gagner quand les règles ne sont pas les mêmes pour tout le monde. Considérez, par exemple, l'impact des politiques américaines sur le marché du blé. Les subventions américaines à la production de blé ont souvent été critiquées par le Canada pour avoir déprimé les prix mondiaux, rendant plus difficile pour les producteurs canadiens de vendre leur blé sur les marchés internationaux. C'est un exemple concret de comment les politiques d'un pays peuvent avoir des répercussions importantes sur les agriculteurs de l'autre. En gros, l'histoire des relations commerciales agricoles entre le Canada et les États-Unis est une histoire de compromis, de négociations difficiles et de différends récurrents. Et maintenant, en 2025, cette histoire s'écrit à nouveau avec une intensité renouvelée. Right then, after having a good look at the lay of the land, we're starting to see how these trade squabbles aren't just about numbers on a spreadsheet, eh? They're more like the ripples in a pond after you toss in a stone. The effects spread out and touch everything. It's not just about a farmer in Saskatchewan trying to sell his wheat, or a dairy producer in Quebec worried about quotas. It's about the whole shebang. The choices we have at the grocery store, the health of our rural communities, and even the strength of our relationship with our neighbors down south. Think of it like this. Imagine a finely woven tapestry, where each thread represents a different aspect of our agricultural system: trade policies, accusations of unfair practices, and political maneuvering. They're all threads in that tapestry. And when one of those threads gets pulled too tight or cut altogether, it can distort the whole picture. It's easy to get caught up in the details, the tariffs, the quotas, the legal jargon, but it's important to step back and see the bigger picture, to understand how these individual issues are interconnected and how they affect the overall fabric of our society. Reflecting on this journey so far, it's clear that there's no easy answer, no quick fix to these trade disputes. It's not as simple as saying one side is right and the other is wrong. Both countries have legitimate concerns, and both have a vested interest in protecting their own agricultural sectors. The challenge lies in finding a way to balance those competing interests, to create a trading relationship that is fair, sustainable, and mutually beneficial. It's like trying to navigate a canoe through some rapids. You need to be nimble, adaptable, and always aware of the currents pulling you in different directions. Now, as we start to bring things to a close, let's think about how these trade issues touch us all, even if we don't realize it. Every time we buy groceries, every time we support a local farmer, we're participating in this complex web of trade and policy, and by becoming more informed about these issues, we can make more conscious choices that support a fair and sustainable food system for everyone. It's like knowing where your coffee beans come from. It just makes the whole experience a little richer, a little more meaningful. So, with all this in mind, we're heading towards the final thought. We've seen that it's not just about the politics or the economics, but about the people, the land, and the future of our food. It's about finding a way to work together, to build a trading relationship that benefits both countries, and that ensures a secure and sustainable food supply for generations to come. It's a tall order, for sure, but one that's worth striving for. So, where does all this leave us then, eh? We've taken a good gander at the Canada-US agricultural dance, and it's clear it ain't always a two-step. Sometimes it's more like a chaotic square dance where everyone's bumping into each other, all while trying to hold on to their partner and a handful of prairie wheat. We've seen how accusations of unfair practices, whether real or perceived, can ripple through our farms, our grocery stores, and even our dinner conversations. It's easy to throw stones from either side of the fence, pointing fingers, and blaming the other guy. But the truth is, it's a whole lot more complicated than that. The real kicker, I reckon, is that this isn't just about trade figures and government policies. It's about the people behind the numbers, the farmers hustling to make a living, the families trying to put food on the table, and the communities that depend on a healthy agricultural sector. When we talk about unfair trade, we're talking about real lives and livelihoods, and that's something we can't afford to forget. It's like when you're at the rink and you see a player take a cheap shot, you know it ain't just a game, it's someone's passion and hard work on the line. And that's where the true practice begins, eh? It's not enough to just shrug our shoulders and say, that's politics. We need to be informed, engaged citizens who understand the issues and demand that our leaders work towards solutions that are fair, sustainable, and beneficial for everyone. It means supporting our local farmers, asking questions about where our food comes from, and advocating for policies that promote a healthy and resilient agricultural system. It's about seeing ourselves as part of something bigger, a community that relies on the land and the people who work it. Maybe the next time you're grabbing a coffee or picking up some groceries, take a moment to think about the journey that food took to get there and the folks who made it all possible. And maybe, just maybe, that little bit of awareness can help us all make choices that are a little bit kinder, a little bit more sustainable, and a whole lot more fair. Because at the end of the day, we're all in this together, eh? We're all sharing this land, this economy, and this responsibility to build a better future for ourselves and for generations to come. So let's roll up our sleeves and get to it, one thoughtful bite at a time.